Hi, welcome back to No Weak Sauce, the YouTube channel about cancer and everything about it. And we're just going to slowly work our way through this story and just talk about things that happen. Uh, in our little origin story today, we're going to talk about the day, diagnosis day, the day that I heard that I have cancer. Now, the last story ended when we were in a small little hospital, and they said I was bad and I was going one direction or the other. However, they told me, with your hemoglobin being at 3.4 and your white blood cells being somewhere off the charts, like 61,000 or something ridiculous, they said we see this in two types of people. We see this in leukemia and we see this in lymphoma. We see this in blood cancer patients, is what we see this in. And I didn't believe them. This, like I said, this was a smaller hospital, and I'm not taking anything against them because they were right. They're 100% on right. But obviously, the first thing I do is deny. I denied that I had cancer. There's no way I had cancer. I went into the hospital thinking that my mouth hurt and I needed to get some painkillers, and I needed to get an IV. I need to get rehydrated, and I need some food, and I'll be fine. So when they tell me that they're booking an oncology suite for me, I didn't even know what oncology meant. My wife had gone to go get clothes because they said this is going to be an overnight trip. You're going to be there for a while. And when she was gone, I spoke to my mother. My mom actually was coming out to take care of my children because my wife had told her that I was probably going to be in the hospital for a couple days before just going in because I wasn't doing very well and I might be overnight. So my mother came out to watch the kids for us. And the doctor said, you need to go pack a bag and follow your husband to the big hospital where I'm going. And when she was gone, I looked at my parents, and keep in mind at this point, I was on some drugs, and they were looping me up and trying to get my pain in my mouth to go away a little bit. So I wasn't all there, but still at the same time, I looked at my mother and I said, oncology, isn't that cancer? And my mom was like, yeah, Tony, it's cancer. And I still didn't believe them. But regardless, I get a unit of blood, and they put me in the first ambulance that night, and they send me straight to the large city at the big, hospital. And the first place they take me is to ER, and they treated me like I was a cancer patient in the ER. They're like, your hemoglobin is low. You shouldn't be around this many sick people in the ER, but we don't have any other place for you right now. This is where you're going to go. And I counted it up one time, and they ran something like 42 tests on me in the first hour or two. I think the first day was over 60 tests ran on me. And that's a lot. And I'm just completely just do whatever you're doing. I go into the bathroom and, they're everything in and out. They're calculating everything. And I was like, whatever. And then they get me into the oncology suite and we do some more tests. And then I see my oncologist for the first time on a Saturday morning. Keep in mind, I went in at Friday night. And by Saturday, probably 5 o'clock in the morning, 6 o'clock in the morning, time really it messes with you at this point, right? You've been in the hospital for, longer than I've probably been in the hospital almost collectively the rest of my, or, for all my other time in my life combined. I guess there was one time I broke my leg and I was probably in there for a little bit longer than that. But either way, right? So I'm in the hospital. My oncologist shows up. We're talking less than 12 hours, 14 hours maybe. I've been in this hospital. And he said, you have leukemia. You have cancer. You have leukemia. We don't know what type yet, but you have leukemia. And we need to do a bone marrow biopsy right now. Not later, not wait until Monday like they normally would do. Send me to a nicer room and, whatever. We need a bone marrow biopsy right now. you have cancer. And there wasn't a lot of time to process all of that. It was, you have cancer, you have leukemia. I didn't know what leukemia was. I suppose the only thing I really knew was leukemia is what small little children got in St. Jude commercials. That's it. That's all I knew about leukemia at best. And now I'm getting a bone marrow biopsy. I don't know what that means. A bone marrow biopsy is where they take bone marrow out of your bone. They drill into your bone, they suction the marrow out, and then they run tests on it. And I'm not going to lie, the first time that I had a bone marrow biopsy was painful. It was one of the most painful experiences I've ever went through in my entire life. It was awful. And then after that was done, it came back. You have leukemia, and you have both types of leukemia, AML, ALL. And I didn't know what that meant. I still can't tell you what those mean. I don't understand everything that I went through. And I will say this a million times over. I'm not a doctor and I'm not a researcher. All right? I did not research anything about my disease and my illness, my sickness, anything. I didn't go to WebMD. I didn't Google a lot of things. I didn't. I just stayed away from it all. All right? I did find out that having both types is extremely rare. And to be honest, as far as my diagnosis day, that is really all I can remember. Now, going through this, trying to talk about it, I went through denial. There's no question about it. After denial, I didn't have time to be angry. People, say you're angry about it. I didn't have time. It was, you have leukemia and we are going to start you on chemotherapy. I started chemotherapy on Monday, inpatient chemotherapy. And we got so much information that I'm numb to try to think of everything we learned that day. But there is one thing that I will say. On day one, I knew I was going to win. I had made the choice right there that was not going to be a death sentence. I was going to fight cancer and I was going to beat cancer. And that has been my battle cry this entire time. No weak sauce. I'm going to fight. I'm going to win. And you really only have two choices. And you really, some people, you will go through the gamut of emotions. You will question whether or not you will live. You will go through a lot of different things. But at that moment, I decided that I was going to win. And attitude, when it comes to cancer, can make a huge difference. So to all of you out there battling with cancer diagnosis, battling leukemia, battling just post-cancer, all right? For those of you battling post-traumatic stress, having to go back to the doctor again, having to get another bone marrow biopsy, the fear, the depression, the scaredness, man, I've been there. We've all been there. Talk to somebody, all right? Get some help if you need it. There's no shame in that. I needed a lot of help, and I've talked to a lot of different people. And it has helped talking to people. So definitely do that if you need to. All right? But your attitude makes a huge difference. All right? I was going to win. And I'm going to continue to fight. And I'm going to continue to inspire. That's half the reason I'm doing this, is to inspire other people. Even if you're not even diagnosed with cancer, I hope you hear my message. Your attitude makes a world of difference. All right? It makes a world of difference. And I'm not saying I have the perfect attitude every single day. And I've drug myself out of bed time and time again and restarted even after my transplant, even after I've been told that I was in remission and that things are going well. It's still hard some days. It's still hard. But you have to have the attitude. It will get better. every single day. So, for all of you out there battling it, keep fighting the good fight. All right? I love you all. I'm sorry that anyone has to go through this awful disease. All right? But hopefully these just make it a little bit better. And you can relate to it. All right? So, F you, cancer. No weak sauce.